How to describe what you witnessed without adding assumptions or opinions. When you describe something you witnessed, your words can either clarify the situation or add confusion. Good communication separates what you saw from what you think. Witnessing a tense moment at work, in a group, or in public can make people feel pressured to explain what happened quickly. The problem is that quick explanations often mix facts with opinions, guesses, emotions, and secondhand details. A clear witness account is not about sounding dramatic or taking a side. It is about saying what you directly saw or heard and being honest about what you do not know. Clear speaking protects fairness, credibility, and trust. Why people accidentally add opinions. People often add opinions after witnessing something because the brain tries to make a complete story. If someone looked angry, walked away, laughed, or spoke sharply, it is tempting to fill in the reason. You may feel emotional and want the situation to make sense. You may already have an opinion about one of the people involved. Other people may ask leading questions such as, "Why did they do that?" You may want to be helpful, so you add an explanation even when you are not sure. You may repeat what others said after the event and start treating it as fact. This is human, but it can create problems. Once an assumption is spoken confidently, other people may repeat it as if it were proven. Facts versus assumptions. A fact is something you directly saw, heard, or can point to. An observation is your plain description of that fact. An opinion is your personal judgment. An assumption is a guess that fills in missing information. A motive is the reason someone acted, and you usually cannot know that unless they clearly said it. More reliable wording sounds like this. I heard him say the meeting was canceled. I saw them leave the room after the disagreement. He laughed after she answered, and she looked uncomfortable. I only know the part I directly observed. Less reliable wording sounds like this. He did it on purpose. She was obviously jealous. They were clearly trying to cause trouble. Everyone knows what she is like. A useful test is simple. Could someone else have seen or heard the same thing, or are you adding your interpretation? Why you should not guess someone's intention. Intention is difficult to know from the outside. Someone may sound rude because they are angry, nervous, distracted, tired, or unaware of their tone. You can describe the words and behavior, but you should be careful about saying what someone meant, unless they said it clearly. Instead of saying, he definitely meant to embarrass her, a fairer version is, he laughed after she answered, and she looked uncomfortable. That gives people useful information without pretending you know the private reason behind it. You can use phrases like, I cannot speak for their intention, but I heard. I do not want to assume their motive. I may not know the full context. I do not know what they intended. I can only describe what I saw. Useful phrases to describe what you witnessed. Neutral phrases help you stay accurate without sounding cold or evasive. They also show that you are not gossiping, exaggerating, or trying to control how others judge the situation. Try phrases such as, from what I saw. What I personally witnessed was. The part I saw was. I only know the part I directly observed. I may not know the full context, but the part I witnessed was. I cannot speak for their intention, but I heard. I don't want to assume their motive. Less helpful phrases to avoid. Some phrases sound certain, but they add motives, judgment, or gossip to the account. For example, he definitely meant to embarrass her. She was obviously jealous. He did it on purpose. Everyone knows what she is like. They were clearly trying to cause trouble. The issue is not that these statements are always impossible. The issue is that they go beyond what you directly witnessed. Practical workplace and social examples. Example 1. Workplace disagreement. 2 colleagues disagree during a team discussion, and one person leaves the room. A less effective version is, she stormed out because she wanted attention. A better version is, I saw them leave the room after the disagreement. I don't know why they left. This works because it describes the visible behavior, avoids guessing the reason, and gives others useful information without adding drama. Example 2. Customer complaint. A customer speaks loudly at the front desk after waiting for help. A less effective version is, the customer was trying to cause trouble. A better version is, the customer raised their voice and said they had been waiting for 20 minutes. This separates tone from motive, includes what was said, and avoids turning a complaint into a character judgment. Example 3. Meeting misunderstanding. A colleague tells others that a meeting has been canceled. A less effective version is, he was trying to confuse everyone. A better version is, I heard him say the meeting was canceled. I don't know where he got that information. This reports the statement accurately, avoids guessing intention, and leaves room for a genuine misunderstanding. Example 4. Argument in the office. You hear raised voices from another room, but only catch part of the conversation. A less effective version is, they were clearly fighting about money. A better version is, I heard raised voices, but I only caught part of the conversation. The part I heard was about the invoice. This is honest about limited information, names only the part directly heard, and avoids presenting a partial account as the whole story. A coworker asks you to explain a tense moment you saw earlier. A less effective version is, everyone knows what she is like, so I'm not surprised. A better version is, what I personally witnessed was that she interrupted twice, and the other person became quiet. This avoids gossip, focuses on observable behavior, and keeps the account fair, even if you have personal opinions. Here's an example in a real conversation. A manager asks, "Can you tell me what happened after the disagreement in the meeting?" A less effective response is, "He did it on purpose. He was obviously trying to make her look bad." A better response is, "From what I saw, he questioned her answer twice in front of the group. She paused, looked down, and did not answer the second question. I cannot speak for his intention, but that is what I personally witnessed." This response is clear without being dramatic. It gives enough detail to be useful, while staying away from motive and gossip. How to stay neutral when you feel emotional. Staying neutral does not mean you have no feelings. It means you don't let those feelings rewrite the facts. If you are upset, pause before explaining the event. Use slower wording, shorter sentences, and clear boundaries around what you know. Name only what you directly saw or heard. Avoid words like obviously, clearly, always, and everyone knows. Say when your information is incomplete. Separate your emotional reaction from the event itself. Use neutral verbs such as said, asked, left, paused, and raised their voice. You can still mention impact carefully. For example, she looked uncomfortable is more grounded than he wanted to humiliate her. One describes an observable reaction, the other claims to know a motive. How Spekero can help. You can use Spekero to practice calm, neutral speaking before a difficult conversation. Record yourself describing a workplace or social situation using only what you saw, heard, and directly observed. Listen back and check whether you added assumptions, emotional labels, or motives. Then record a cleaner version using phrases like, "The part I saw was," or "I may not know the full context." This article is communication guidance, not legal advice. In formal workplace, HR, safety, or legal situations, follow the relevant process and ask the appropriate person for guidance. Final thought: the most credible person in a tense situation is not always the person with the strongest opinion. It is often the person who can calmly say, "This is what I saw, this is what I heard, and this is what I do not know." When you separate facts from assumptions, you make it easier for others to understand what happened without being pushed toward a conclusion you cannot prove.